Well, good morning from Normandy, France. I'm not sure what time it is where you're at, but it's morning here. Woke up this morning having a little coffee, and I'm reading the news on the SIG 320. And boy, the comment section is nuts as per usual. Bennett and I were talking about it. And I said, geez, I don't understand people. You've got all of these data points out there, but folks just still want to argue. And she, being a super smart, educated lady, said, it's about inference. Now, if we look up the word inference, or to infer, it's Latin meaning meant to carry forward. And what that meant is I'm going to carry the facts forward to a logical conclusion. I'm going to take all of the data and I'm going to use logical thinking and I'm going to assemble a conclusion based on that. Not on my emotions, not on my preconceived ideas, not on my opinions, but on the available facts. When we go to the doctor, a good doctor will infer a diagnosis based on what they see with our signs and symptoms, right? When we start to use preconceived notions and bias, we can end up missing clues and missing data. I shared something on Instagram the other day and people said, well, what's he saying? It's just mumbo jumbo. No, what I was saying there is use your eyes, your ears, your nose, your senses to gather clues and data and cues, right? Clues and cues, and make choices based on that. I'm not going to tell you don't buy this gun or do buy that gun. But when we have tons of data points telling us that something could be problematic, you should take a look at that. If you went to your mechanic and they said, hey man, this truck you're looking at is known to have transmission problems or it's known to have engine problems, and you buy it anyway, you missed a clue, right? You did not take a fact founded by somebody who's got experience and you just skipped it. That's stupid. I think too often in this space and many others, we make our choices based on emotion. My dad was a Dodge guy, so I'm a Dodge guy too. And I don't care if you buy Dodge, but let's instead line up the facts. Make a choice based on that. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with SIG. I don't know if they'll carry on. People are pretty short-sighted. There's been car manufacturers, look at Toyota, for example, or Volkswagen that had a big blunder. These huge manufacturers can have these big blunders and go on to continue making and selling tons of things. People are pretty short-sighted when it comes to this type of stuff, even when people get hurt and killed. In fact, I remember just a few years back, Firestone tires had some bad tires that were causing a SUV that they were put on to get involved in rollover crashes. Many of you probably don't remember that. Maybe you were too young, but Firestone continues on. They didn't disappear. And SIG may not be as big as some of these other companies, but they're big enough to absorb the hit most likely, and that's what marketing departments are for. All that being said, make the choice for you, for the firearms that you carry to protect life, limb, and liberty, based on the stuff that's available. There are too many high-quality firearms out there that we know don't go off in holsters. So let's just look at those. Doesn't that make good sense? In addition to that, there are some folks that say, hey man, if you just never violate rule number 2. Rule number 2 is never point a firearm at anything that you're not willing to shoot, kill, or destroy. If you never do that, you'll never have a problem. Well, I agree with that. We train to that standard. We never point a gun at anything we're not willing to shoot, kill, or destroy. But go talk to any policeman in any big city, and they will tell you that they've seen co-workers or they themselves have pointed firearms at people many times and never shot them. A firearm needs to discharge when its owner, when its user decides for it to go off. If it happens at any other time where the human is not the one making the decision, that's a problem. That's a clue, and I can infer from that alone that I should make a different choice with my purchase and what I'm going to carry on my body to protect myself, my family, my community, etc. Mickey with CarryTrainer.com, just a little chat. Use inference to make good choices, which requires us to go out and put our feelings and our bias aside, look at the data, get a notebook, man, write the stuff down, get a marker board, or open something up on your computer and type it up and then look at it. Here are the facts. And then separate yourself from them. Ask yourself objectively, can I remove my bias from this line of questioning and just look at the facts? That's called being a good adult. If you can't do that and instead you inject all of your preconceived ideas, that's what kids do. That's what the immature do. And it requires our attention to be able to get better at that, to be able to look at something and draw out the facts. Hey, while we're here, please do check out Ignis Lux Coffee. We roast this stuff ourselves with love for you. Check this out. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It's been fun traveling around Europe here and grinding this stuff in the different places we're going and knowing that we probably have way better coffee than anybody in town. IgnisLux.com. Be well, don't be dickheads, and please do check out our current class schedule. The next class is near Chicago, Illinois. We've got a 2-day pistol class and a 3-day rifle pistol class. Then we're over in Michigan, near Detroit. After that, I believe we're on to possibly Tennessee. Yes, that's true, Tennessee. Then Florida, Las Vegas, New York. We've got another Ohio class coming up and a bunch more. CarryTrainer.com to check those out. And Ignis Lux Coffee, if you want to support us, you can get this stuff delivered every week or month to your door. Like I said, we roast it in-house with love. Be well. Don't be dickheads. Tell somebody you love them. And practice the art of inference to draw out the facts, to carry them forward, help you in your life. It'll work with relationships. It'll work with your job. It'll work with diagnosing firearm problems. It'll work with just about anything.